Hey everybody, I hope you guys are healthy and safe. So I've been wearing the Honor Band 6 for the past month and a half now. I like this band a lot because it's thin, it's sleek, and it gets the job done in terms of doing all the tracking. Now this band was really interesting for me when I first got it because I got it about a month and a half ago, and then when I opened up the packaging and I set up this band, I realized I needed to download Huawei Health to sync this band, to get this band to start working. That's interesting because, as most of you guys watching this probably already know, Honor is no longer part of Huawei. Huawei was forced to sell Honor due to all that US sanction stuff. So I was like, what is going on here? Why is this still use a Huawei app? So it turns out the Honor Band 6 was one of the very last Honor products that's still tied to Huawei, because this was technically released in China just before Huawei sold off Honor. So this is still technically a Huawei product. Now, if this is the last Honor product to be tied to Huawei, then this right here is the first Honor product to not be tied to Huawei. This is the Honor MagicBook 14. So this is Honor's 2021 laptop, and as the name implies, this is a 14-inch screen. And yeah, as you can see, the screen looks pretty damn good, right? It's a 1920 by 1080 LCD panel, and viewing angles are good. And I also like that it kind of reflects glare quite well. Like, I'm not pointing against the sun, the light is shining at it, and even though, you know, viewing angles, at this angle, you can see the brightness drops a little bit, you're not seeing a lot of glare off the screen, right? It still looks good. So how do I know this laptop is no longer tied to Huawei? Because if you look at this lower right corner of the laptop, you see right here it says Honor Magic Link. And if you used a Huawei laptop in the past, you will know this is just a version of Huawei Share, meaning you can tap a Huawei phone onto a Huawei laptop and automatically you can sync your Huawei phone to your laptop and you can see your phone screen on the laptop. I tried a Huawei phone to tap on this laptop and it wouldn't sync. This was not the case in the past. Even using last year's Honor MagicBook Pro, I can still connect a Huawei phone with an Honor laptop. That is no longer the case. You have to use an Honor smartphone now to do the sync. If you use a Huawei laptop, it doesn't sync anymore because Honor is no longer part of Huawei. But despite that, there's still a lot of similarities between this laptop and Huawei's most recent laptop, the Huawei MateBook X Pro, which I reviewed about a month and a half ago. So for example, you still have this one-touch power button right here. This power button doubles as a fingerprint sensor, so that means when the machine is sleeping and you open up the lid, you just have to press the button once and it'll boot up all the way to your home screen. You don't have to like separately log in again. You also have this pop-up selfie camera button right here located in the F keys. You know, I'm someone who don't do a lot of video calls and I don't take selfies, so I don't mind this location because it allows for a slimmer bezel. But if you do a lot of video calls, this is not an ideal location because the camera is shooting up from a lower angle up your nostrils. Yeah, so this is how the webcam sounds on the Honor MagicBook 14. And finally, the processor in this machine is the exact same processor that was used in the Huawei MateBook X Pro 2021. This is an 11th gen Intel i7 Tiger Lake U chip. So this is not the most flagship processor that Intel offers, but it's kind of in the upper mid tier. It's a 4-core 8 threads processor and it has Intel Iris Xe graphics. So, you know, if you do basic video editing, you know, I run Power Director on here, edit a 4K clip, it does fine. It's not going to compete against the Final Cut Pro, obviously, but gets the job done. And I played the graphically intensive game Asphalt 9 on here and everything ran fine without any frame rate drops or stutters. Now let's look at the overall construction. So you have an aluminum body, it's a clamshell design. This hinge, I like that it opens 180 degrees. It opens all the way like this. This looks pretty damn cool. Sometimes I'm just sitting on a couch, you know, I just prop up the laptop like that on my knees and I'm just watching YouTube just like that. Otherwise, this hinge is pretty sturdy. It doesn't wobble. It stays in place quite well. Now this laptop enclosed measures 15.9 millimeters in thickness and it weighs 1.38 kg, which to Americans, it's 3 pounds. So aluminum body, but I like that there's a little bit of a subtle flourish in that the chamfer parts of the laptop has this little blue edge. Okay, now looking at ports, on the right side of the machine you have a USB-A and a headphone jack. On the left side, you have a USB-C port here. This also charges the 56 watt-hour battery. Right here is another USB-A port, and here's an HDMI out. Now, unfortunately, if you do want to use an external monitor, you will have to use the HDMI because this USB-C port is not a Thunderbolt port. So you can't use the USB-C port to output it to an external monitor. So like I said, the 56 watt-hour battery is enough to power this machine for over 8 hours of a typical workday. But if you need to charge up, one of my favorite things is this charging brick is really thin and it weighs just 200 grams, so it's really light and it's really small. I mean, if you use a MacBook, you know that the MacBook's charging brick is huge. It's freaking bulky. This is so much slimmer and lighter. Now this keyboard is really enjoyable to use. The keys are evenly spaced out and they have relatively good travel of about 1 millimeter. Now this trackpad, it's not the greatest trackpad I've ever tried. You know, that's because I use a MacBook mostly, and MacBook trackpads are just light years better than any Windows laptop I tested. But for the most part, it's fine. It has Windows precision drivers, so it's quite accurate. All the gestures work. I don't get a lot of the accidental touches that I get from the Huawei MateBook X Pro actually. So Honor did a little bit better job of fine-tuning its trackpad than even Huawei. Now as for this screen, like I said, it looks really good. It's not the brightest panel around, but all the colors are accurate, and this has all the Rhineland low blue light certification. So if you're using this at night in a dark room, there's a setting for you to tap to turn on this blue light filter. Now unfortunately the speakers are a little bit disappointing, so let's check out the speakers. So right now we're at 44%. This is max. Now you might be thinking that sounded a little bit loud, right? That's because the speakers are actually placed at the bottom, and I had the laptop like this with the speaker pointing to my mic. If you're actually using this on a table, then the table will actually muffle the speaker a little bit. I mean, it's not a terrible speaker, but it's definitely not among the best speaker I've ever tested. Now as for software, this laptop runs Microsoft's Windows 10. For the most part, it's basically as you'd expect. It's a very clean software, except there's this PC manager right here that basically, gives you a shortcut to optimizing your laptop. You want to clear up your RAM, all of that. Oh yeah, there's 16 gigs of RAM in here. This is something that if you use the Huawei laptop, you'll be quite familiar with. For the most part, I just ignore it because laptop will run without issues without you micromanaging it. Now, as for thermals, like I said, I played a little bit of Asphalt 9 on this, and the laptop did not get too hot. That's because Honor built a relatively large fan inside. You can kind of see it if you look deeper into the vent. This fan does a really good job of pushing heat out from below. Now, I don't know the official global price of this laptop yet because at the time of me filming this video, this laptop is not launched globally yet. But this laptop did already launch in China, and the pricing for the 16 gigs DDR4 RAM with 512 gigs of internal storage model goes for around 7,500 RMB, which converts to a little bit over 1,000 US dollars. Now, I know $1,000 for an Honor product is higher than usual because, previously this was under Huawei. It was a sub-brand that aimed at the mid-tier range. But now that Honor is on its own, this is Honor's flagship product, and $1,000 for a laptop with these specs, which are, not quite premium flagship level, but upper mid-tier, I think is reasonable. Obviously, there are a lot of other options on there, but if you're someone who already uses an Honor smartphone, then getting the Honor MagicBook 14 makes a lot of sense because you can seamlessly connect your phone. That is super helpful if you use an Honor smartphone. So yeah, I have here the very last Honor product that's still tied to Huawei, and I have here the very first Honor product that is no longer tied to Huawei. Yeah, quite historic. So anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Stay healthy, stay safe. Thanks.